Now to China, and China's President Xi Jinping has opened the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in the city of Tianjin. The summit is being attended by more than 20 world leaders, including Russia's Vladimir Putin and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Xi delivered a keynote speech and presented a long-term economic and security strategy for the region, pledging to bolster cooperation with countries in attendance. Here's some of what President Xi had to say.
The current international situation is intertwined with turmoil, and member states are confronted with more arduous tasks related to security and development. Uphold fairness and justice, promote the correct view of World War II history, and oppose Cold War mentality, camp confrontation, and bullying behavior.
For the past couple of days, all eyes have been on the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO Summit, that took place from August the 31st to September the 1st. The annual summit has brought together leaders from more than 20 nations, representing half the world's population, believe it or not, to discuss not only regional cooperation, but also the very future of global governance. Western mainstream media still can't get over the fact that Russian President Putin and Indian Prime Minister Modi were seen walking hand in hand, while just a day prior to that, Modi and Xi Jinping announced that it is time for the dragon and the elephant to dance, which is a beautiful way to signify the beginning of a new chapter in India-China bilateral relations. But beyond the SCO sessions, which we will discuss in greater detail in just a second, the event also includes ceremonies commemorating the 80th anniversary of the victory over militarist Japan and the end of World War II. So this is a direct reminder of the historical depth that anchors today's geopolitical shifts between Russia and China. The SCO summit aimed to adopt a new development strategy for the SCO through 2035, to sign multiple cooperation agreements, and on top of that, to map out a collective approach to modern global challenges. In the media, we already see reports indicating that the SCO ushered in a new world order, and it is a quite challenging task to argue with that, because it is true. According to experts, the scale and the vision of this year's SCO summit marked an unprecedented achievement for the organization. It brought together over 20 world leaders and delegations from more than 30 countries. Many now acknowledge that this year's summit is a strong signal that the SCO is no longer a regional bloc. It is a truly rising force in global affairs. The appeal of the SCO, according to experts, lies in the structure of the organization. Unlike many Western-led alliances, the SCO is based on the principle of non-interference, mutual respect, and equality among member states. It also offers an alternative model of international cooperation, one that resonates very strongly with many countries in the global south. Many members of the SCO are members of the BRICS Economic Alliance, by the way. Since its founding in 2001, the SCO has grown from just 6 to 10 full members, and today it also includes 2 observer states and 14 dialogue partners. Its members stretch across Eurasia, from China and Russia to India, Pakistan, and Iran, and these are countries with very different ideologies, but they do have shared interests in the emerging multipolar world. So there's a lot that binds them already. SCO members jointly announced that they oppose protectionism and unilateralism, and this is of course a clear indication that they are against the tariff tensions as part of President Trump's economic policies. Now, ahead of the summit, Russian President Putin commented that the SCO must now take a major step forward, and it certainly did. He said that the organization needs, quote, a powerful new dynamic and greater capacity to respond to the pressing challenges of our era. And so that includes not only security threats, but also economic instability, technological gaps, and humanitarian concerns. And those ambitions are reflected in the summit's agenda. The outcome of the summit was the adoption of the Tianjin Declaration and an updated SCO development strategy to 2035. Russia's ambassador to China also confirmed that around 20 key documents were set to be signed, and they covered regional security, economic collaboration, and cultural and humanitarian ties. So you see that this is very, very broad in scope and covers a variety of areas, not just economic cooperation, not just security cooperation, but truly sort of a very wholesome agenda. But the summit is not just about documents and declarations, of course. It's also a moment of diplomatic theater. One meeting that drew global attention was between Xi Jinping and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It was Modi's first trip to China since 2018, and it came amid growing friction between India and the United States, including rising tariffs on Indian goods. And during that meeting, Modi emphasized that China and India should not see each other as rivals. Xi then echoed that sentiment, and he stated that in a world that is filled with conflict and chaos, the two Asian countries must be, quote, friends and partners, so that the dragon and the elephant can dance together, using Xi Jinping's words. Among the most significant key takeaways from the SCO this year, I would name the following. China and India are cooperation partners, not rivals. This is a sentiment made by Xi Jinping himself, and of course, PM Modi echoed that sentiment and supported the initiative. Xi also said that he supports Azerbaijan joining SCO. Now, I think this is a controversial statement, and I would be curious to see how President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, reacted to it, although I'm sure he was well aware that that statement was going to be made by China. But given the latest Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev's trip to Washington and his deal with Armenia's PM Pashinyan to allow the United States to use the Zangezur corridor and then to rename it to Trump route, I would imagine that Azerbaijan joining SCO would be a quite interesting conversation to have among the bloc's members. China is ready to stand and cooperate with Belarus. I think this is a very important and very strategic statement to make. It is a signal of support not only for Belarus but also for Russia. The goal of this year's SCO summit was to unite Asia's major powers and to offer an alternative to the dominance of Western institutions. Bloomberg, for example, reported that Beijing is actively building a network of partnerships that could rival the US-led world order. And then you have to question, well, why wouldn't Beijing do that in Asia? Of course it would. It is a great power in that area of the world. And it's not just China and India, by the way. The summit included leaders from Mongolia, from Egypt, Turkey, Indonesia, and many more countries. Their presence underscored a very clear message, and that message is a large and growing segment of the world is seeking new centers of gravity, new centers of power, and they're finding it in the SCO as part of the BRICS bloc and also in the process of alignment among members of the Global South. What's interesting is that Western media have not missed the message. Outlets like Reuters and Bloomberg have reported with very cautious concern about the SCO's expanding scope from its roots in counterterrorism cooperation to a broader agenda that includes economic integration, military dialogue, and geopolitical alignment. Some analysts argue that China is leveraging the summit to push back against Western influence and to promote a more equitable global order. The SCO is emerging as an alternative center of global governance, and it is quite clear now, especially following the 2025 summit. The growing strategic cooperation between China and India is a potential game changer if these two countries, despite past tensions can align their interests, it could significantly accelerate the formation of a more balanced and less Western-dominated world order. Like BRICS, the SCO is becoming a pole of power on its own. These two blocks, the BRICS bloc and the SCO, they're quite complementary, I would say. Together, they represent a challenge to the old hierarchies and a new vision of a more multipolar world. Thanks so much for watching. Please show your support. It does go a long way. Give this video a thumbs up.